upside of a hair transplant. Do not get a hair transplant from cheap clinics because you will look like this. I'm at 4,050 grafts and it's still thin. Yes, I'm on medication, finasteride, minoxidil before you people.
4,000 grafts and it still look like, doesn't mean it's automatically a bad transplant, but let's keep into it. Let's rewind it back though. That was kind of
I'm at 4,050 grafts and it's still thin. Yes, I'm on medication, finasteride, minoxidil before you people come at me. It's still thin. Look how bad it is. I've had it on the crown and everywhere really. So I'm gonna get dutasteride and mesotherapy done. Dutasteride is the stronger version of finasteride, but I'm gonna get a liquid form injected into my scalp. I'm gonna show you how it's done. So I'm getting it injected into my.
man. First off, shout out to this guy for even showing this his results and his process, especially because a lot of people, when it comes to hair transplants, you see the really positive results, or you see the results immediately after they get it, but we don't really see the results 6 to 12 months afterly. So let's, like I said, shout out to this guy. Um the link to the curator will be in the description. So he got a cheap hair transplant, he said, um and he had 4,000 grafts, over 4,000 grafts. And if you know what I'm saying, at this video, you're probably not new to what grafts are. That's the things that go from the back of your head, like the actual hair, like particles and the hair pieces. If you don't know, um, the actual hair grafts, like I just pulled one out.
This is the first step of hair transplant surgery called follicular unit extraction. Every time that probe goes into the skin, it pulls out 1 to 2 hair follicles. A pair of tweezers is used to then pull them completely out, and then you make tiny little pokes into the scalp, and you plant each hair one by one into the scalp. It takes about 6 months for them to start growing. Results are permanent.
But if I take like a little beard hair right there and I pull it out, that's a graft. So he took 4,000 of those from the back of his head and he sparsed it out through his hair to try to fill it up. That's what a hair transplant does, right? You want to try to fill it up. So he tried to fill that part up, and as you can see, his didn't come out as filled. And as I said in the beginning, it's not so much that it was a horrible hair transplant. It could have, or a bad job as far as the actual hair transplant. It could have been technique, right? The actual technique that they decided, because he did say he had a big space to cover. So 4,000 grafts for that big of a space. I mean, you got to put more some area, then put less some areas. So there's a lot of things to consider there, but it also maybe, the spacing, like I said, like basically what space that they decide. So it's not so much that it was just a bad transplant, but it also could have been a lot of other nuances and things to consider, which is why you got to really do your research before you get a hair transplant, because a lot of people, you want to just, if you're looking for value for hair transplant, the first thing you think about is Turkey. So you're talking about hopping over 12 hours on a plane, and you got a potential to have your results look like this. And it's important to understand that this is a potential outcome. So you got to really understand how to avoid this outcome, which is why you're watching videos like this. So let's go ahead and finish this, guy. Finish and see what the brother's talking about.
So anyone that's struggling with hair loss, I'm gonna document my journey because I am planning on getting a second one, but I'm just trying this and seeing what works. And
That was his first hair transplant, right? Think about that. That's his first one. So to think about your first one, it's like, if that's your first one, you don't want to spend less money. You want to spend the most money, because you don't, ideally, I mean, if you got to get another one, it's like, years down the road. It's not because you're trying to correct the results, because you're not satisfied with the first one. So that's the thing about a hair transplant, right? If you want to go 12 hours overseas, I'm speaking from, an American living in the United States. I'm not sure exactly where Brett's from. I think in Europe or something. So maybe he's from Europe or somewhere in there. But that said, what I'm saying, coming 12 hours is a lot different. When I got my SMP, I was nervous. I was nervous that whole day, right? I was really nervous. The whole day I'm thinking about it. The night before I'm thinking about it. So me thinking about that, and I live 30 minutes away from the clinic, it put me at ease because I live 30 minutes away. So I'm like, all right, if something went terrible, I'm 30 minutes away. But if I'm going on a plane and I'm going 12 hours, I really got to know what I'm getting myself into. And if I'm going to put myself in the best position, I'm going to pay the most to lower the chances of me looking like that and to heighten the chances of me being satisfied with my results. I'll pay the most, especially on the first one, right? So that's something for y'all to consider. You know what I'm saying? Going to these cheap or cost-effective clinics over in Turkey, it may be good up front, it may sound good, but understand that your results may be heightened, or your chance of having results that you're not satisfied with may be heightened, but in no scenario is it 100% perfect unless the doctors and the clinics have some kind of accountability as far as their results, as far as people looking at the results, as far as the good or the bad, which is why it's important to create open community platforms like where you at today with Aftly, to actually discuss the whole nuances before and also after the procedure. But let's hear them out.
When you don't go for a hair transplant too young, get on the medication ASAP, try and stabilize it, and then go for the hair transplant. Because I went at 22, but I was insecure and my hair loss was pretty bad at the time. And then I've ended up going Turkey and not getting a good result. And having to go for the repair is expensive. So do your due diligence and take time.
So he said a few things in there, right? First thing he said, which is important and it's something to consider, if you're throughout your hair growth, journey, is if you're going to get on medication or not. So me personally, when I first started losing hair, I got on Rogaine. And with Rogaine, I feel like it exacerbated the hair loss process. I could have been misapplying it as well as far as putting too much on. But that said, they also have finesterdine. That's like a pill thing that you take. Now, to be transparent with you, some of the clinics that I went to, they told me, my hair was not grown out enough. So I wasn't a good candidate for them to do a hair transplant on me, right? So the consultations that I done. And then some, they told me, I'm great, right? But that said, the one that told me that I wasn't a good candidate, they told me that I would need to take finesterdine or some kind of medication therapy for 6 to 12 months. Now, throughout my whole, hair growth journey, I never took any type of like oral medicine, right? Uh, I am reconsidering it, especially if I get a hair transplant, because as I just broke down to you, it's basically an investment. It is an investment, especially if you want quality results, your best chance at quality results. So to protect your investments, part of that is going to be getting on some kind of medication as far as finesterdine or something. But they do have different things than when I first looked into it. As far as like, it's been a while ago when I first looked into it, but now they have different doses and different levels and things that you can take, and also different options, kind of like what he just had as far as getting stuck in the head. But if you really want to protect it, you want to make sure you get the best thing for it. And also, he said he went at 22 years old to get a hair transplant. If you go at 22 years old to get a hair transplant, you got to think about your whole entire life. It's another reason for myself, which I'll do a deep dive on, as far as when I'm thinking of getting a hair transplant, and also what's been part of the holdback as far as me getting a hair transplant. I'll be completely transparent with y'all. That said, though, you something to consider. If you're 22 years old right now and you going through hair loss. I was like 21 or 22 when I was going through hair loss, right? I was 24-ish, somewhere around 24 when I got the SMP. But being 21, 22, you want your hair, you're used to your hair, but at the same time, understand that if you don't have the funds to invest fully into it, when I say invest fully into it, I mean invest in quality results, then you maybe want to take some time and maybe you want to just get an SMP, or you maybe want to just do something else to hold you over in the meantime. Because the worst thing you can do is is burn out your donor area. You only get so many grafts to actually don't to spread out across your head. So if you're 22 years old, you don't want to waste all the grafts for your whole entire life because so uh you want to go aggressive with your hairline. Brug has like kind of a lower hairline too, but it's a lot of things to consider when you're doing it, right? So make sure you get the research done. Go ahead and subscribe, tap in here. More information, more videos coming to y'all soon. But there's a lot to consider when you're getting a hair transplant. And you got to watch out, because all results don't just come out great, but 6 to 12 months, what happens in that time is what really determines your results, guys. As always, man, you know what to do. Let me know in the comments, have you ever had experiences like this, or have you ever seen this? Until then, as always, get to stepping, get to stepping, get to stepping. Hey.
Like YOLO wanted to tell you, accept yourself. You don't have to prove shit to know and accept yourself. And if you